at this point in their presidency saw a drop of 5% or more. So Donald Trump is on a planet all by himself, a planet you do not want to be on. The American people don't want to be on.
At today's stock market situation, it's a mess. Today, we take a look at the stock market, which is in a very unstable condition. After one of the worst days in recent times, investors are hoping for a rebound. But we are also seeing a moment where President Trump is refusing to back down from his attacks on the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. The president's aggressive policies and uncertainty around his trade wars are shaking the market, and his political actions are creating a looming crisis in the financial world. According to a CNN reporter, since Donald Trump took office, the stock market has experienced repeated drops, but yesterday's crash was one of the worst in years. Sometimes, when we look at the entire day, it feels like we're completely losing control. So, let's take a look at Trump's entire presidency and where we stand as we approach his 10th day back in office after re-election or return. His time in office has caused the largest drop in the S&P 500 index compared to any other president at this point in their term since the index was created in 1957. And honestly, it's not even close. To compare, the next biggest drop was under George W. Bush in 2001, with a 7% decline. No other elected US president has seen a drop of 5% or more this early in their term, except Trump, who has overseen a 15% drop in the S&P 500. This has forced many Americans to think seriously about a possible recession. Some believe we're already in one. But where's the data? Well, here it is. Looking at market indicators, JP Morgan predicts a 60% chance of recession. Polymarket says 57%. All these numbers point to one conclusion. There's roughly a 50-50 chance of a recession right now, a big jump from where things stood at the start of Trump's term. The stock market reflects the economic health of a country, and right now, both the market and recession fears show we're in a very fragile state. Trump's trade wars have taken a strong economy and turned it into an unpredictable one. That's why so many people are concerned. Who's to blame if a recession does happen? Is it the past administration? Or is it President Trump, whose decisions are directly affecting the economy? Many Americans believe the responsibility lies squarely with Trump. Not forget, people have been talking about an upcoming recession for the last 4 years. The forecast has been between 32% to 55%. But we haven't technically hit a recession yet. It all depends on how long these trade wars last. Experts believe deals with the EU, UK, Canada, Switzerland, and Mexico might get resolved soon. But China is a much bigger issue. It's not just about trade and tariffs. It includes intellectual property theft, market access, and world trade. Organization concerns. There's a lot on the table. Still, some argue the US economy is always resilient. After all, it represents 26% of global GDP and nearly 40% of global consumer spending. It's a complex situation, yes, but from an investor's point of view, now might actually be a buying opportunity. Historically, the US market sees a 20% correction every 18 months, and each time, people say, this time is different. But long-term, the American economy has consistently provided 8 to 10% return. In fact, stocks are now trading 23% lower than just 4 months ago. It could be a value buy. Many people agree that this is the worst April since the Great Depression for the Dow and the S&P 500. That's big. And it's not just stocks. Safe assets like government bonds and even the US dollar are for 3-year low. That's why investors are running toward one of the oldest safe havens, gold, which is now at its all-time high. points to a single truth. Markets, not just stocks, are signaling major uncertainty about America's future. There's a lot of volatility. No administration has ever tried to handle this many trade negotiations at once. Plus, Trump's fight with the Fed is adding fuel to the fire. Many still don't understand how or why he returned to the White House, but like it or not, we have to deal with his policies. As investors, we can't control who's in office, but we can focus on the policies. Ultimately, the big question is, how much blame does Donald Trump deserve if a recession really happens? Do we continue blaming the previous administration, or do we hold the current leadership accountable? The American people seem to believe the buck stops with Trump. If Donald Trump thinks he can avoid the blame, many say, not so fast. The truth is, we've been talking about the possibility of a recession for 4 years straight now. That's why today's 32% to 55% odds feels so serious and concerning.